Happy Mother's Day. My son Frisco, since I raised them predominantly by myself, when he was little called me his daddy mommy. And on Mother's Day, he would come in and wish me a happy Mother's Day. I felt great about that. I felt awesome about that. I saw on the internet while I was waiting to come out a cute little cartoon picture of a dog, talking, with a bubble over his head that says, "I just want to say thank you to whoever gets stuck walking me, bathing me, picking up my poop, whoever you are, happy Mother's Day," And I went, anyone who's been in the single parent role knows that gender plays little part in it, and you take on roles and responsibilities that you never dreamed you would be. And I'm in the soul-saving business, and all of my ancestors have used the threat of death to get people to come to Jesus. And anyone who's watched my ministry for the past 33 years knows that I rarely do that. That I have sold Jesus as the amazing Jesus, and get to know my Jesus, and everything else would fall into place, much more than I've ever sold hellfire and damnation. Because I think, scaring people into the kingdom, I've always thought scaring people into the kingdom is abusive in nature, and usually done by people who aren't having the type of relationship that I'm having with Christ, that's so romantic and so wonderful that I can't help but share it with people. Well, I feel a little different on the other side of the sudden loss of a child, where you're face to face, literally. We say that all the time. I was faced with death. Well, I really was face to face with it. And every time I close my eyes, I'm face to face with it. If I could sleep with my eyes open, maybe I'd get through the night. But I was face to face with, look how fast life can change. Look how fast life can change. And I've always said there's two kinds of people in the world. There's people of the death culture, people like me who've known a lot of people throughout life that have died, and I mean, I've known hundreds of people personally who have died. Then there's people, God bless them, and who are fortunate enough to get all the way into adulthood, and maybe lose a really old grandmother or something. But people of the death culture are the ones that tend to say, "I love you" a lot. They're the ones who make sure their loved ones know every time they talk that they love them. And people have commented on how I talk on the phone to my children, that we always say, "I love you." They're great. They always say they love me. But we're sealed now. We're sealed in that. We say it in the beginning of the conversation, the middle of the conversation, at the end of the conversation, and on every single text, even if we send 20 back and forth. "Hi, how are you? Love you. I'm fine, love you." It's all over the place because we are completely traumatized by sudden loss. And try selling me that this won't happen again in my life. I've reverted all the way back to newborn babies, and I'm terrified they're going to stop breathing in the night. I told my girls, I said, "You got to understand, I'm officially neurotic, and you have to check in with me all the time or I will panic." So now I live in this mindset that, since the worst that could happen has happened, everything else can and most likely happen. And it's easy for anyone on the outside of that to say, "Well, you've just been through a lot, Paisley." But just remember, again and again, I've lost something no one on earth can fathom what it's like to lose. Dana said, after this happened, that my family has just been torn. It's just been ripped apart, and it was so true, and it ministered so much, because I pictured, and I was just talking about this, I think last night or the night before, that we were in this nice, comfortable, warm, cozy bubble called the Yankolovich family. And all of a sudden a big hole was ripped in it, and like balloons, helium balloons outside slipping through your fingers, we're all flying away trying to catch each other now. Because there's this big hole, we can't keep it together. Our foundation has been totally destroyed. Not temporarily destroyed, totally destroyed. We have to build a new foundation as a family. We have to consciously be okay. We have to make an effort that we didn't have to make before. Before, it was already there. And we had a lifetime together. Well, the lifetime, the 20 years that we had, have been obliterated. So now we have to decide as a family, who are we going to be for the next 20 years? And God bless us, we've decided we're going to be a family. And we're going to band together and we're going to fight this and we're going to get through this. But now I'm faced with, I've been a minister for 33 years. I've been an evangelist for 33 years. I have preached the gospel. I have preached salvation. I have preached heaven and hell. I have preached what happens to you when you die for 33 years. And I think I'm one of the most brutally honest ministers I've ever heard. And sometimes one of the meanest. But I've never, ever played the, you're going to die right now card, and where do you go when you die, and what's going to happen when you meet your maker, and I've really avoided that. I really avoided that because, again, I think Jesus is so amazing and powerful that we can accept him because he's great, not because we're scared of what happens if we don't. But now I see the other side. And what kills me is most of the preachers who have preached the subject have never experienced what I've experienced. I'm too weak to muster up a hellfire and damnation sermon. I'm too weak to pace and froth at the mouth. You know what I mean? It's just the opposite. I think that witnessing this firsthand, it was the most humbling thing I've ever experienced. I mean, talk about knowing God's God and I'm not. Talk about just having to decide once and for all what I believe and who I serve in ways that I never dreamed possible. But there are a lot of mothers on Mother's Day who have lost children. I know one. I know one, the mother of my son. There's countless. My grandmother had lost all 3 of her daughters before she died. And I remember calling her on Mother's Day and having her say to me, "Why are you calling me on Mother's Day? I'm not a mother anymore." She hung up on me. She hung up on me when she was in a good mood. I mean, you keep it in perspective. And I thought that's really interesting. I mean, you are a mother with no one to mother. If I didn't have my daughters, I have no idea how I would get through this. I don't even know why anyone would try, honestly. But being that I am getting through it, and being that my daughter's entire lives matter so much that me going under is not an option, I get to still speak out on God's behalf. And I'm faced all the time with, no matter how much I've been accused of it, rarely took my personal experience at that moment, whatever I was dealing with that moment, and made it my ministry. I very rarely inflicted my bias or shaded my tone based on my emotions at the time. Well, now I'm totally overrun by emotion, so there's absolutely, I can't even hide from it. Push me and I snap real easy. To say something trite about the loss of a child and find out the difference between religion and relationship. Because I lose my religion really fast. But I think it really matters that if I live through this and I have an opportunity to speak, which apparently I do, at least still tonight. After tonight we don't know, but still tonight, if I have an opportunity to speak, then I have an awesome responsibility. An awesome responsibility. So, I am going to say this, and I am going to say this, and I'm going to give the disclaimer that this is Christianity. This isn't, I'm judging, I'm pointing the finger, I'm not assessing. Can we go back to I'm too weak? I'm too weak to do more than what I'm doing. Meaning, I'm grateful I can make it through a whole set now. I'm grateful that I can stand and it doesn't physically hurt from my surgery. I'm grateful that I'm going to make it through the night. And there's a lot of great food waiting for me and I'm really hungry. But past that, I do not even have the energy to judge as well as I judged 5 months ago. I'm good for a couple sentences of gossip and then that's all I got. I need to conserve my energy to get through the day. So anyone in the room or anyone in TV land, please don't feel judged at all, because it's not true. It's absolutely not true. Because in my heart of hearts, I'm convinced Jesus is real. My heart of hearts, I know Jesus, so I know He's real. And I'm convinced that He will reveal Himself to people without me huffing and puffing. I'm convinced of that. I'm convinced if you take 5 minutes out of your life and give Him a chance, you'll know everything about Him. I'm convinced of that. So I'm just going to educate. Pretend like we're in school, and this is Christianity 101. Probably, I don't even know if it's on a high school level, but, we'll pretend that it's college level. And I'm just going to say this. To die. We were never meant to die. A physical death, ever, in God's plan. It is not the circle of life. The food chain is a lie. We were never meant to die. We were never meant to get sick, ever. We were never meant to know illness, sickness, or accident. Now, how it would be possible for us to exist without an accident, I don't know. But what I am going to say is, with the inability to be sick, would come the inability to have injury. So basically, we would be able to collide into one another as hard as we want, and it might feel kind of cruddy, but it wouldn't break anything or damage anything or kill anything. We were created perfect, and we were created eternal. We did not kill animals for food and clothing and shelter before sin and death entered into the human race. Therefore, we did not eat animals. Nothing died. Nothing that had the breath of life died before sin happened. The church has missed the mark so much on trying to scare people into the kingdom. They're missing the entire point that fear didn't exist before the fall. So if fear didn't exist before the fall, what ruled? Say love. Love ruled. Love ruled before the fall. Hence why ministry should be fueled by love. Now my ministry has always been fueled by love and fear, but not the fear I try to inflict in other people, but my fear that I know that life is short and I only have tonight to talk to people. That may be the fear of the Lord more than that negative fear that we use to manipulate others. So, we were not meant to die. We were not meant to get sick. We are not meant to, what we call age. I can't tell you what we would have been like because we don't know. But I can tell you that Bible-believing Christians believe that the Bible is believable. And therefore, just reading it for yourself, you see that nothing died before sin entered into the human race. And then everything had to die. Everything was going to die. And then the entire Old Testament was built on leading up to how God was going to rectify the eternal placement problem that we call heaven and hell. That because we were tainted, we could not dwell in the presence of God and survive. God doesn't cast people into hell. People repel against the presence of God because they can't be in His presence. Again, this image of the big bully in the sky is so immature and destructive that this is a love story. This is a love story about a perfect God and people who got bad, people who turned bad, and His plan of redeeming that and fixing that and saving that. Not the big bully in the sky picking and choosing who did good and who did bad. If that's the case, I'm screwed. I don't want to talk forever tonight. I want to say that these are principles no different than gravity. Ignore gravity all you want, but walk off the roof of a 10-story building, you'll believe in gravity. Forgive me, you'll know the gravity of the situation, but I saw a thing on the internet, another one of those one-picture things, and it was a church sign that says, "To err is human, to R is pirate." I don't know. I love that. Arr. I don't know why pirate jokes are always funny to me. These are principles that don't go away just because we don't believe in them. And all I know is God loves us so much that He created a way back. That's simple and easy. It's as simple as saying, "Yes, Lord," one time. Literally. It's that simple. I don't know why anyone has to beat anyone over the head to get them to say, "Yes, Lord." I don't understand. See, I don't understand my job. I don't understand the people who have gone before me. And there's been amazing people. I'm not criticizing at all. I just don't understand the people who have gone before me who pace and they talk in a way that makes you feel uncomfortable. Especially when white guys do it. I'm sorry. Every few months I really want to do that. I spent 8 hours at a service of that when I had to perform 2 songs at it. And oh man, all that spitting, my gosh. I don't understand it. It's all show, it's all ego. Why not just tell people God really loves you? Would you please give Him a chance? I know the Jesus story sounds stupid, but I saw my dead son and I touched his face and I knew that he loved Jesus. And the Jesus story didn't seem so stupid. Yeah, I'm pissed off. And yeah, I am really struggling with my relationship with God. You know what? If you're struggling, it means you're still in it. And He's been amazing through this. Anyone who knows my private life, which I'm not going to announce on the internet, knows He's been amazing through this. And my girls are doing amazing. We are amazing. It's been amazing. I would trade in amazing for my son any day of the week and go back to complaining about the mundane of my life, but that's not my option. But the Jesus story isn't stupid to me and my kids. All of a sudden the Jesus story really matters when you're looking at your dead kid. And you know what? God bless us, we're not all going to lose our kids, and but we are going to lose someone, and someone's going to lose us. This is the most important story there is, that God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whoever believes in him shall not perish when they get killed in the middle of the desert, but shall have eternal life. There are countless minutes in the day that's literally all I have left to hold on to. Literally. You want to tell me this Jesus story is stupid? You want to tell me that I believe a fairy tale, a myth? Really? Really? We judge everyone else's faith, whether they're also Christians or they're non-Christians. We judge all the time. This is natural. I would love my faith to be judged, scrutinized, challenged, and discussed. Because it will hold up. It will hold up. There's no one more surprised than me that I really am who I thought I was after all this. There's no one more surprised. I mean, I was like, wow, I really am the real deal. I thought I was the real deal before this happened. I really am the real deal. Because my faith is not destroyed at all. I don't want to say it was strengthened, because I think it was pretty strong, and that's why it is the way it is. But I will say it's been tried and proven. Tried and proven. This is not a fairy tale. This is not a myth. This is not gobbledygook. This is something that can be experienced and accomplished for all eternity in one sentence. Lord, I don't know exactly what all this means, but I totally want to find out, and I'll let you in and see what you can do. Something as simple as that. Or, yes, Lord. Yes, Lord.